So with a lot of YouTubers opening up about their bullying experiences, somebody who watches me and who I talk to on Facebook had asked me to do a video about bullying and my bullying experiences because they're being bullied right now. This person is still in school and they're having a hard time, and they wanted me to talk about bullying and my experiences. So I'm not going to go all, oh, poor me, even though I am going to say some of the stuff that did happen to me. What I'm going to talk about is that if you're a bully, what you are saying and doing to people has long-lasting effects that will stay with them for the rest of their lives. And there is no amount of time and no amount of counseling and therapy that can reverse the damage that you are doing to these people when you bully them. It's ridiculous. And I know that some of you people watching this right now are going to be typing nasty comments in the comment section, and I'm going to say that that's not going to bug me because on my other YouTube channel, it has over a couple million views on one video, and the stuff that YouTubers are saying to me is like, it's pathetic, and I just laugh at it. It's like, they actually tried to say that I was a transsexual. It's like, yeah, this guy has to be a man and not act like a woman. It's like, no, I was born a girl. So anyway, the bullying. I know that some of you are going to write some nasty comments and be haters about this, but that's all I got to say to you. So yeah, my bullying experience started when I was very young. Before I even started grade primary, actually, I went to kindergarten when I was 4 as a preparation for going into grade primary. Now, I was always a tomboy when I was younger, especially in elementary school. So I dressed like a boy and I did boy things. It's like I played with dinky cars and trucks and played in mud. I wasn't playing with Barbie dolls and stuff like that. Well, I did have Barbies, but my Barbies were not going to the shopping mall and getting their hair done and having movie star weddings and all that silly girly stuff that most girls want their Barbies to do. My Barbies were going on adventures. They were horseback riding. They were mining. They were exploring the world. They were doing stuff. They were living almost like an actual existence. They weren't doing some silly fantasy thing that people try to put girls into specific roles and saying, oh, well, you have to, when you grow up, be this. Well, it's like, my dolls never did that stuff. They were, as I said, like, they were like having adventures, as most humans should want to go out and explore the world and not say, oh, because I'm a girl or I'm a boy or I'm a whatever I am, that I have to fit into a little mold of what society wants me to do. No, that is not cool at all. Anyway, so it started then. It's like the boys always wanted to play with me, and I guess they kind of thought that I was kind of cool until they found out I was a girl, and then they would attack me and beat me up on the playground from grade primary right up until grade 6 when I left the elementary school. I was beat up on an almost daily basis. And yeah, I fought back, and I had a little club where I would teach the younger kids who were being bullied how to fight back and defend themselves. And the teachers didn't like that, and I got in trouble. Every time that I was bullied, I would get in trouble. There is these 3 boys that one of them was my age and the other 2 were a couple years younger. They decided that they were going to tie me up on the playground with a skipping rope and leave me there. Well, they did not get very far with that plan. They tied me up and I had my arms were like this and the skipping rope was all around, and I took off running, and they were too stupid to let go of the rope and they were getting dragged behind me. I was a strong child, and I got in trouble for dragging these kids across the playground. They didn't get in trouble for their premeditated plot to tie me up and want to leave me outside. No, I got in trouble for defending myself, and that happened a lot in that school. Another thing that happened is there was some discrimination against my skin color. I don't go outside in the sun very often anymore. This is one of those little mental things that really mess a person up that therapy can't help. I stay out of the sun because when I do go out in the sun, I tan. My natural skin color comes out, and I tan a little splotchy. It's like some of my pigment stays very, very pale, and other parts of my pigment get very, very dark. So there are some places on me that look a little splotchy. My legs get splotchy on my thighs, and my upper arms get splotchy. It's like kind of like a skin pigment thing. I have it right now, but it can't really be seen unless you actually really, really stare at it. And I also have some scars all over my body because when I was younger, we worked in my father's scrapyard and we were using all of the tools and everything. So when you're using the grinder, the sparks come up and sometimes they land all over you and you get a little tiny pin burn. Well, anyway, those pin burns don't tan, so those show up stark white against the tan skin. Anyway, kids made fun of my skin color, saying that I was all sorts of horrible names because most of the kids in my school were white. There were no African descendant children. There were no other native kids. So they picked on me because my skin color was different than theirs. And I also had a teacher who drugged me into the staff bathroom and tried to scrub my skin color off of me. She tried to say that I was dirty. And when I told her that, no, this is my skin color, that when I go outside and I tan, my skin does this, she didn't believe me. She said that children don't spend enough time outside to get tanned. And that is just utter nonsense. Like, she said children don't tan. Well, I was quite dark when I was really little because I practically lived outside. When I got home from school, I was straight out that door and I was off in the woods. I was out in the mud. I was out exploring the world with my animals. It's like me and my dog. My first one that I had, Bandit, that I got when I was 5 and she died when I was 7. It's like every day me and her were out doing something. We were having adventures, like we were digging in the mud and we were looking for squirrels and we were doing all sorts of fun stuff. And then the same thing with my other dogs. I mean, Charlie and Taz, like we went out, I would take them for walks all over the woods. I very rarely stayed in the house, especially in the summer. I was barefoot, I was everywhere. But this teacher tried to say that children don't tan because they don't spend enough time outside. And that's just ridiculous. It's like, just because I was not sitting inside on my butt playing video games and letting my mind go numb, there was something wrong with me, apparently. Apparently I was dirty, but my skin still does it. And to this day, I do not let myself get much sun exposure because my skin tone, some of it gets really dark, some of it stays very pale, and I look splotchy and patchy, and I'm not even sure what to say about it. It's like there's this thing in my head now that I cannot let myself get tanned because of how I was treated when I was 6 years old, when I was 8 years old. This is ridiculous. It's like, when you bully somebody, it stays with them for the rest of their life. And as I said, there is nothing that any psychiatrists can do to help people when things are drilled in their head like that. And then there's the physical bullying. It's like, I was beat up on a daily basis. It's like, I have scars on my body. I have one right here on my wrist. From grade 8, this boy attacked me because he was like super crazy evangelical, and he attacked me. He's like come out with his fingernails and was grabbing at me. It's like, what is wrong? And this boy didn't stop in grade 8. It's like we were in grade 12. He stood up in the back of English class and screamed, "She's a witch," and sat down. Nothing ever done with him. He was never reprimanded for distracting the class. And the same boy in grade 11 biology, we were learning about evolution and the natural order of life. Is like animals adapt to their environment and they either survive or they die. It's like you adapt, you survive, your offspring has your same adaptations genetically. And those who cannot adapt, they don't survive and they don't pass their genes. That is evolution. That is the natural order of life among the whole solar system. It's like there's life on other planets. They evolved. They evolved like we did. Maybe not like us. They probably don't look like us. But you know what I mean? It's like there's a natural order to the world, and we're seeing evolution right now with bacteria. That there are bacteria that have evolved to be resistant to antibiotics. But no, anyway, he had a hissy fit, like violently screaming and pounding on the desk that evolution was not true, that it was all created by God, and we need to learn creationism. And he was cursing and he was swearing. He disrupted the class, something horrible, and he stormed out of the room. He wasn't reprimanded for that. We actually had to be taught creationism. I swear, we live in Canada, and we don't have a lot of crazy religious people, but the ones that are here have influence. We actually had to read that stupid textbook of people and pandas in my grade 11 biology class. It was ridiculous. And part of that learning experience was that we had to write a creation myth. That was the assignment. The teacher said, your assignment is to write a creation myth. So I wrote a creation myth. And he failed me. And he claimed that the reason that I failed my assignment was because I did not have proof that what I wrote was real. We were told to create a creation myth, a story. And I failed because the teacher didn't explain to us that we must provide proof. There is no proof for any creation myth. It's a story. A creation myth is a story to help explain why we are here. But anyway, that was just an example of teacher bullying. There was another example where we were given a free range essay write, where the only requirement was that we write something on a scientific topic. I chose to write about wolves and my theory about wolf evolution, that wolves evolved to be the high predator that they are right now because of their ability to communicate. And everything about a wolf, their vocalizations, their sign language, their pack behavior, even the color of their fur and the way that they have their coloration, it's all geared towards communication. And I wrote all this and I put little sites to where I found my information and examples of behavior and stuff that has actually been documented by scientists in this essay. And I just barely passed. And he wrote at the end that I had no proof of any of this. It's like, I'm citing the websites and the other scientific documentation, but yeah, apparently animals are not intelligent. But back to bullying and physical bullying. Other than like this little scar, I have other little scars from when kids thrown rocks at me and it broke my skin. Times that kids would whip me with skipping ropes, would leave big bruises and welts and scrapes and all that stuff. But then there was worse stuff. My left knee is damaged. It was damaged when I was in grade 12, and it will never heal, and I might in the future have to have a knee replacement because of this incident. I was leaning it against the wall waiting for class, and I was putting most of my weight on my left leg, and this boy came up behind me and he kicked me as hard as he can behind my left knee, and I fell, and I could hardly get up. And it was so bad, the pain, that I was limping for quite a while, and I actually had to sit that class out. I had to go and sit in the guidance counselor's office because I was in so much pain. And it like hurt so much. It's like it takes a lot for me to cry because of pain, but I was absolutely bawling. And nothing was ever done to this kid. It wasn't the first time that this kid attacked me either. It's like he used to come behind me and stomp really hard on the back of my heels. And I kept telling him to stop, and he wouldn't. I had reported him to the office almost every day, from grade 10 to grade 12. I'd go to the office on this boy. Nothing was ever done to him. And then there's one day I defended myself that he chooses to take my leg out from under me and physically damage me for the rest of my life, and nothing was ever done. It's ridiculous. It wasn't just my school. There was kids all over the place, as you can see by the other anti-bullying videos on YouTube. It's like, I was not alone. There was a lot of people that this happened to. Nothing ever gets done to them. It's ridiculous. Other physical bullying is I have had my hair cut. I have had my hair set on fire. And with the setting on fire, it happened numerous times. They would just sit behind me on the back of the bus or in the back of behind me in the classroom, and they would take my hair ever so gently and scorch it with their lighters. And they would giggle and laugh as my hair caught on fire. And they never got sent to the office. They never got in trouble. No matter how many times I would go to the teachers and say, hey, these people are doing these things to me, never happened. There was one time when a lock of my hair right here, probably, let's see, about this thick, was cut off right short. Now, my hair was longer than it is now when this happened, and they cut like a chunk in the back of my hair off, and I had to cut my hair a little shorter and wear it up in a high ponytail all the time to hide the fact that they cut a big chunk of my hair off. And they did that more than once, and nothing was ever done about it. So it's like, I'm going to say this a million times, it's ridiculous that these things are still going on. When these things were happening to me, the last incident was when I left high school 10 years ago. And it's still affecting me. Even the stuff that was from like 20 years ago is still affecting me. And I'm not alone. It's like there's other people who have had that stuff happen to them. And it affects every aspect of my life. I can't trust people because like some of the worst bullying that I had experienced happened because of people who I thought were my friends and people who I had trusted with everything in my life. I had trusted to these people, and the things that they do in return is like, there's this one person who had been my friend, and they just, no warning, just turned on me, and the rumors that they spread, I just can't understand why they would do something like that when I had, to the best of my knowledge, I had always been nice to them. I mean, if they were doing something silly, I would say, I don't think this is a good idea. But that's no reason to create a living hell for somebody else. Just because your friend doesn't think that you should be dating somebody who is an obvious idiot, that's no reason to be spreading wild rumors about this person and making everybody believe your crazy stories. It has really messed things up for me because I can't trust anybody. I can't open myself up to anybody. Um, I've not had a best friend since high school, really. Um, I just can't trust anybody. And it's ruining my relationships too. It's like if I meet somebody that I like, I can't trust them fully enough that they're not gonna hurt me. It's like I can't relax. It's like it's almost like a paranoia in a way, um, because of how I was treated in school and my interactions with other people. There's always this thing in the back of my head: they're going to betray me. They're going to try to ruin my life. They don't really love me. They say they do, but they're lying. I can't trust them. And it just all goes back to every interaction I had with other kids in school. It's like when I think back on it, and I think back on the things that the other kids had done to me, the ones who I had thought and felt were my friends, they weren't my friends. They never were. It's like even when I think back on the times where things seemed to be going well with friends and hanging out and doing stuff with them, they they never really were my friends. It's like it was always all about them. And I don't know. It's just crazy. Anyway, this is like 22 minutes long now, and I'm just running out of things to say. It's like so many things had happened, and it's just really emotionally damaging. And I'm almost 30 years old, and I don't have a friend, like, in the physical. It's like I can't go hang out with people and have a good time because I can't trust them. It's like I've not had a significant other in my life for a very long time because it's like I can't trust anybody, and it just messes every aspect of my life up. It's like bullying when you're a kid. People just say, "Oh, kids are kids," but it's not a laughing matter. It's not a game. It really messes a person up. And it's like my last year of high school, I went really goth as a protection method. I put on the mask and I played tough trying to make sure that nobody hurt me. It didn't stop anything. But you know what? It's like I was walking down the hallway and there were these boys picking on this girl. And I just said, "Hey, you stop that." And they ran from me. And it was the first time in a long time that I actually felt good about myself. And there's not many times since then that I did. But I stopped those boys picking on that girl, and I never saw them pick on her again. And she started to come and sit with me in the cafeteria. So, if you see somebody picking on somebody, maybe you should just say, "Hey, leave them alone." And the more people that say it, maybe these bullies will stop. I mean, they might start picking on you too, but hey, just hold your ground and use your brain. If you're actually thinking and using your brain instead of sitting on your butt doing nothing but playing bubble pop or whatever game is going around now, it's like I'm mentally an old woman. But if you're actually reading and using your brain, then you can win a battle of wits with these idiots. That's all bullies are, is like they make a big show and puff out their chest and say, "Oh, look at me, I'm so special." Well, they're not special. Their IQ is probably a lot lower than the people they're picking on, and it never will increase if they keep behaving like they're behaving. I'm not sure what else to add to this. Um, Things are bad, and it's like it doesn't get really that much different when you grow up. That's one of the things that my friend who asked me to do this video had asked, is like, when I leave high school, is it gonna stop? Will my life be better? And I said, well, I don't know. It's up to you. What you do with your life and how you make it better is your choice. And if you sit around and you dwell on all the horrible things that have happened to you, then it's not going to get any better if you give in and to the darkness and you follow along with the trend of numbing yourself with drugs and alcohol, then your life is going to get a lot worse. I've seen it. There are kids that I went to school with, that I graduated with, who are no longer with us because of drug and alcohol related accidents. And there's just no excuse for that. They have ruined their existence. It's like literally they are no longer here because they gave in to whatever was eating at them. And one of the things that I feel has really helped me in dealing with all this crazy abuse and bullying that I had dealt with from the time I was a young child is because I face it and I think about it. And it's like, some people say, oh, just ignore it, don't think about it, don't clog your mind up with negativity. Sometimes you have to think about it. Because if you sit down, write it all out, and think about what is going on, you look at it and say, well, why is this person doing this? And then you kind of understand it. There's still no excuse for their behavior, but if you can understand it a bit, use your brain, then it's not going to affect you as bad. I've done a lot of work, a lot of meditation, thinking about things that have happened to me and what other people have done. And a lot of the people who were really nasty with me are actually on my Facebook page. And I mean, I'm never going to trust them. I'm never going to be their best friend. But they're on there. And it's kind of like the best revenge is living well. It's like they made your life hell. They did things to you in an attempt to ruin you. Some of the things that other people were doing to me, I seriously believe in my heart that they were trying to get me to kill myself because they knew that I was really depressed and they just kept pushing and pushing and pushing. But I didn't, and I'm alive, and some of these people have to see all of my happy pictures and things on my newsfeed as they're scrolling through Facebook. So, yeah, the best revenge is living well, and just use your brain and do well with your own life. It's like, you can think about it, you can think about what's happened to you, but don't dwell on it. There's a difference between thinking about something and dwelling on it. Thinking about it is like a creative process where you use your brain and you say, well, this happened. These are the facts, and this is what I'm going to do about it. Dwelling on it is just looping over and over and over again. So you're looping it. It just repeats it over and over in your head. And nothing's ever going to get better from that. So it is your choice. And I really suggest keeping a clean and sober mind, meditating, and becoming as intelligent as you can, because bullies are idiots. They're not doing anything to further themselves other than beating down others. So they're not growing any at all. It's like the people who were bullies in elementary school were bullies in high school, they're bullies in college, and they're going to be bullies in their workplace too. It's like they're just going to be assholes their whole life. So there's nothing that we can do about them other than ignore them the best we can and do as best as we can with our lives. And if, let's say, like 25 years down the road, you run into one of your bullies and you see how horrible they're doing, and they get to see how good you're doing because you have followed your intelligence and used it to your advantage instead of dumbing and numbing yourself. How's that going to make them feel that, yeah, this is somebody who I tortured and I tried to make their life really bad, and now their lives are so much better? That'll probably make them feel pretty bad about themselves. that they're not your friend. So it's like, I'm not sure what else to say about this. This is a rather long video, and I hope it is to the satisfaction of my friend who had requested it. I just ramble on too much, and if I keep talking, who knows what subject I will end up on. So anyway, I hope some of my ramblings may have helped somebody.